All right. So what is going on, guys? It's Faye back here. Yeah. So it took me a while actually. All right. So sorry for the delay. This video. So as promised, this video we think about Al-Haitham. All right. So this video is definitely Genshin Impact team related. All right. So those who are not interested in Genshin or whatsoever can just leave this video. Okay, in today's video, I'll be talking about Al-Haitham. Right, so Genshin just version 3.8 just landed. So with tons of updates and tons of new stuff. Right, so events and 3.8 aside. All right, so this video is to how should I say, to fulfill my promises. All right, so Al-Haitham's banner is actually in 3.7, which is actually a goal for like quite a long time already. All right, but I made this video after the banner. All right, I still want to like make this video because I just want to tell people like how how good this character is after I have been using him for like quite a long time. All right, compared to like just using him a short time and just like found out he's good or whatsoever. All right, so first of all, I'll hate him is he's a 5-star sword character, all right, and wields the element Dendro, right? So he ascends with Dendro damage bonus, right? And his essential materials will be what is it again? Oh yeah, it will be the wee nut, all right. You need to defeat wee nut to get essential, right? So what is so good about our item? Okay, so for our item, all right. So first of all, his handling. All right. Should I use the word handling? Whatever. All right. So when you're using Al-Haitham, instead of like majority characters, even though their animation is smooth and everything, but however, when you use handling, like called chain normal attacks or like not normal attacks chained to charge attacks, yeah, you'll find out that there's some like really weird animation or you like feel like a stun or stop frame within each. But for our Hatem, I've been using him for like let me see how long I've been using. Alright, yeah, 2023 January 30th. Yeah, I've been using him for like almost half a year now. So his like animations and chains and handling are technically really smooth. Alright, so it's like yeah, so you see you can technically just like chain his charge attack from anywhere. It's like yes. So technically it's like his whole transition is very smooth in the whole normal attacks it chain or like just combined with charge attack, alright. So only a few of the characters when you use have like this really smooth feeling when you are using their like attacks or their kits. All right. So first of all, we are going to talk about how he works. All right. So for me, he is an on-field DPS. All right. For like it's optional. You can let him like be on field, or you can make him a sub DPS. All right. He is not suitable to be an elemental like applier or driver, right? So I'm just going to start from his talents, all right? So for his talents, normal attack, all right, normal attack, ad- abductive reasoning. So he attacks 5 times, all right, but the third hit is twice, all right, nothing special, just kind of high scaling, no cap, right? Next is the charge attack damage. So for his charge attack damage is actually quite mid, in my opinion. It's kind of mid for me. So both the multiplier for two charge attacks are actually the same, right? And it costs 20 stamina. So just something normal, right? Plunge damage will be 17.5 and like 235 and 2. Yep. Okay, so to his most important part of his kit, all right, the elemental skill, all right, please don't remember the name, it's unnecessary, all right. So technically what the elemental skill does is um you can assume he's like something like pitching's E, all right, but instead of like you need to tap twice, all you need to do is tap E one time and he will just dash or rush to the enemy, all right. So after dashing, all right, what will happen is if he have no chisel like mirrors, which is like this green color thing, if you can see, yeah, this green color thing. So there's chisel like mirrors, or you can just call them mirrors, all right. So when he have no mirrors, all right, or chisel like mirrors, he will instantly generate two, all right. If you have, then he will generate one mirror when you use elemental skill, right? When he possesses chisel-like mirrors, his normal charge and plunging attacks will be converted to danger damage, right? Which cannot be overridden. When attacks of the aforementioned kind hits opponents, the chisel-like mirrors will unleash a projection attack that deals AoE danger damage based on the number of mirrors on the field. So he can get up to a total of three chisel-like mirrors, right? So here's the scaling. So using scaling to explain will actually make you guys understand better. Alright, so first the rush attack damage, which is the instant tap E, right? So yeah, as you can see, the scaling is actually quite insane for a level 9 talent. Like it's very really high. Right. So it's 329.1% attack with 263.3% elemental mastery. Right. So projection attack interval. This means that for every time you hit the enemy, the chisel-like mirrors will actually launch like a projection attack together because it is something like Radiant's E, right? But this they have it's specified here like 1.6 seconds of the attack. Alright. So as you can see the scaling here for level 9 is like the mirror projection attack damage. So it's like 114.2 attack with 228.5 EF. So overall, I've tested out that like after playing for months, all right, the best stats for him is EM over attack. Yep, it's definitely EM over attack. Right. So the chisel like mirror removal interval is actually so, which means that if you have two by generating, yeah, you technically have like 8 seconds of dendro damage, not dendro damage, dendro infusion. All right. So technically means that you have like 8 seconds of dendro infusion. But however, there's a way for you to get three stacks. All right, I'll explain later. Right. So the cooldown for this skill is actually 18 seconds. Right, which is kind of long for some people, but if you play him properly, like there's a way to like somehow cycle the whole thing without having a really long cooldown. So next, we are going to his um. Wait, I forgot to explain one thing in elemental skills. So for these three kinds of mirror projection attack, so there are actually different animations for the projection attack. So if you only have one mirror stack, it will just be one single slash. If you have two mirror projection attack damage, like you have a machete or I think it's a machete spinning like in front of you that hits two times. All right. If you have three mirror projection, you will rain swords. Like yeah, and all those like projection animations will start from Haitham himself. Right. So the center point of where all the animation casted is from Haitham himself. Right. So yeah, make sure you stay at the right place to trigger them. Right. So next is his elemental burst, which is somehow easier to understand in my opinion. Right. So it creates a field that deals multiple instances of AoE danger damage. Right. If chisel-like mirrors exist when this ability is unleashed, all mirrors will be consumed to increase the number of damage instances dealt. 2 seconds after the ability is unleashed, if 0, 1, 2, 3 mirrors were consumed, Al-Haitham will generate 3, 2, 1, 0 new mirrors. So it's like depends on how many mirrors you consume, right? And how many mirrors you get back. So the single instance damage of um, the field is actually 206 attack with 165 EM. Right. So basic attack instances are four for the base. All right. So if you have one mirror, you increase to six. For two mirror, you increase to eight, and three mirror, you increase to 10. The cooldown is 18 seconds because that comes along with 70 energy cost. Right. So this skill, it's also optional. You can either use it as a burst damage, or you can use it as a skill to refresh your chisel like mirrors. Right. So yeah, that's technically his kid. All right. So for those people who are thinking which talent should you actually upgrade first, yeah. So my personal opinion and recommendation is it depends on your playstyle. Yes, it depends on your playstyle. Honestly, right. So the first talent among all is definitely your elemental skill, which is this one, an elaboration on form, right? So this thing is the core output of Al-Haitham, regardless of like on field or sub DPS, right? So this thing besides like just pressing E and then have a high output here, and attacking one time will also proc the mirror projection attack damage, right? So if you are playing on field, the projection attack interval is like 1.6. If you times it by 2, you'll be like around 3.2. Right. So means that before one chiselite mirror is removed, you can proc 2 times of the mirror projection attack damage. Right. So if you are playing on field item, so you might need to like kind of pay attention to this, alright. But if you are playing like sub DPS item, you probably don't have to play too much. So you press maybe just E and Q, then you just leave him off field, right? So after upgrading the elemental skill, all right, for on field and sub DPS item, there are two paths. Okay, if you are playing on field, you might need to prioritize basic attack and lastly the elemental burst. All right, if you are playing sub DPS item, okay, you might need to prioritize burst over normal attack. Right, of course, maxing them all out is actually a really good option. Since you can like swap between playstyles, right? So next we have the level 20 Ascension talent. Right. So what this thing does is actually when our items charge or plunging attack hits opponents, they generate one chisel light mirror. Alright. So it's only charge attack and plunging attacks, no normal attacks, alright. And this effect can be triggered once every 12 seconds. Alright. So as I mentioned here, one chisel light mirror removal interval is 4 seconds. So if you have no stacks and you use the skill immediately, you get two chisel line mirrors, which is like 8 seconds. And if you multiply this in, like when you instantly plunge or charge after using your E skill, well, by the way, E skill you can actually you, you can actually hold it up there. Wait, it's on cooldown. Yeah, so you can actually hold it. Yeah, it will be something like this, and he'll instantly dash to that place, and you can do some plunge, right? So yeah, so this thing, if you instantly trigger it, it will immediately start cooldown on 12 seconds. So this means that technically the moment you end this, alright, so there's like 12 seconds. So the moment it ends, you have another, you can proc this talent again. So it's like 12 plus 4, you get 16 seconds. Alright, so 16 seconds means that you technically only have like 2 second cooldown on this. Then you can go like rotate and cycle again, like, and you sort of field and you apply all the buffs again, the shields, the heals, and everything, and then you can like keep him going for longer, right? So for his second talent, the level 60 ascend the talent. So each point of Al-Haytham's EM We increase the damage dealt by the projection attacks and particular field factors of phenomena by 0.1%. Alright, a maximum of 100% can be gained in this way. Right, so this one is more to like elemental burst usage. Right. So his true passive talent. So when he crafts weapon essential materials, he have 10% chance to receive double the product. Same as Ayaka and Albedo, I believe. Right. So next, I would like to go to his weapons. Alright. So his weapons, as you can see here, I'm actually running Freedom Zone because I don't have his signature best in slot. Right. For his signature best in slot, it's actually the foliar, yeah, like a foliar incision, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So the weapon gives a ton of crit damage, and it also like uh converts the weapon passive is like converts EM to direct damage. Like it calculates EM as direct damage. Right. But sadly I didn't get a weapon during the banner. I got Freedom Sword instead, so I will just use it. Right. So if you have I mean, technically any 5-star works on him except for Skyward Blade. Right, the weapon gives ER, so it's not really optional. Alright, so any weapon also works on him the for 5 stars, like Mid Splitter, Foliar, Freedom Sword, PJC, and Haran, right? And also Submit Shaper. All of those also works. Okay, so for those who don't have a 5-star weapon, maybe you are like you are a really hard try hard free to play. All right, like you try free to play, you only put characters. You don't have any other plans for weapon banners. So you there are also 4-star options. So first in my list is the Okabo Shigure, or you can call it the Umbrella. Right? So this is an event limited weapon. You can get it from version 3.3.1 or 2, I forgot. Like it's from the Inazuma event where you can actually get this weapon. Alright, so what's good about this weapon is it adds elemental mastery. So for our Hitam, any stats can technically be usable except for ER. Alright, if you want damage increase, alright. So technically crit rate, EM or crit damage will be very useful for him, or even EM. Right. So this weapon fits in because besides adding EM, the weapon passive also allows him to like deal more damage, like 32% more damage when the weapon passive procs on the enemy. Right. So which is really good in my personal opinion for him. Yeah, so it's the first on my list. So um if you don't have this weapon, alright, it's fine. Okay, it's totally fine. Alright. Because we have alternate option. Okay, second one you can give is Cypher's Moonlight. So this weapon you can get it from the gacha. Alright. You can get it from the weapon banner. It's a limited weapon banner weapon. Right. So it converts EM to a portion of the EM to ER, and takes a portion of the ER and give it to a whole team. Right. So this is more like a support weapon, but it's also really useful. So if you don't have both of these weapons, all right, we are going to go down to craftable weapons. All right. So craftable weapons, I will recommend Iron Sing. All right. So this is craftable one. All you need is just a sword build. If you don't have one, just try to farm. So this weapon gives EM same as the umbrella and the Cypher's Moonlight, and the weapon passive gives you all damage increase like for 6 seconds and max 2 times. Yep. So approximately here is like 15% for R2. I believe R1 is like probably just 12% or something. Right. So if you don't have an Iron Sting, okay, what should you actually do? Right. Uh so if you don't have an Iron Sting, you can probably use the Kagotsurube Ishin from the Kazuha story quest. Right? You can use this weapon. Next, you can also use the Aminoma Kagiuchi. Alright, both these weapons give attack percent. I mean EM is of course the one of the best stats for him, but if you don't have the weapons I say like Instinct, Cyphos and Toga, the umbrella of like this. Okay, you can just use attack percent swords, alright. Or you can just exchange the Blackcliff longsword from the Starclitter shop, but I bet not everyone will actually do that. Okay, so you can give the red sword from the Kazuha's story quest. We can use the Aminoma Kakiuchi, which is also a craftable one. Alright. So if you can't be craftable, just exchange. If you can't exchange, just use this free sword. Yeah, just upgrade this. Yeah, why? Okay. Okay, if you or you can just use the flute. Alright. Or you can just use the flute. Alright. So if you really have like if you really end up and have like no choice, right? Then the only option we have is coming down to ER weapons. Right? ER weapons, what I recommend is sacrificial sword only. Or you want to run for bonus too also works, just yeah, just kind of low damage. So sacrificial sword, in my opinion, it fits him as an ER weapon because it gives a ton of ER. Even though the base attack is low, but base attack doesn't actually like attack height. Right. So high ER, and most importantly is the weapon passive can crash his elemental skill when the elemental skill hits unit. Right. So that's technically my weapon recommendation. And let's come down to artifacts. Alright. Artifacts, in my personal opinion, there are only two sets suitable for him. Alright. So Al-Haitham, right. It's either use 4-piece Gilded Dreams or you use 4-piece Deep Wood. Nothing else. Right? Nothing else. Only these two sets. Nothing else. No 4-piece echoes. No 4-piece Shimano. Only four guild. It's either four gilded or four deepwood. Right. So for the stats, you should go for EM on the sands. Alright. Danger damage bonus on the goblet. And finally crit rate circlet on the crit rate circlet on circlet. Yeah. Okay. So the reason why I don't want to give crit damage is unless you got a really really crack crit damage circlet with like 20% crit rate or even higher. Otherwise, just give crit rate circlet. You would rather have a crit rate circlet with crack substats than a crit damage circlet with crack crit rate. All right. Why is it important? Is first of all, for your information, every character comes with 5% crit rate base crit rate. Alright. So this technically means that Al-Haitham doesn't ascend with crit rate, he ascends with danger damage bonus. This means that he only has 5% crit rate. And the only way you can improve his crit rate is either from weapons or from artifacts. Alright, so weapons, if you want to include his signature weapon, which is the Light of Folly Incision, that weapon gives a ton of crit damage, which is like 88.2. Right? So compared to other weapons, the weapon is like more of a stat stick, but at the same time, the weapon passive also makes him suitable for Hatem. Right. So the reason why I'm asking you to stack crit rate is w- it's more important to crit than not crit. If you can't crit, then your crit damage is useless. Alright. So as you can see, this is my set 73.8 to 120. Alright. I'm not running any crit weapons, so yeah, here is crit circuit, so it's like 31.1. And for the most basic standard I have on every item piece is I'm asking for at least 10% crit rate on every piece. Like legit every piece. Or even if you didn't hit legit every piece, you must hit at least 4 piece to have 10% crit rate. Then only you can balance out the crit ratio and make item actually crit. Right. So here's my flower, 10% crit rate and 10. Right. Here's my feather, also 10% crit rate and crit damage. Right. Here's my EM sense, also 10% crit rate. Right. So for a goblet, I actually copied and choked a bit, so it's like 6.6 and 19.4. Right. And finally, crit rate circle. So according from this is like 10, 10, 10, another 31.1. So technically I feel like 60 is 1.1%. If you plus by another 5, it's going to be like 60 something percent crit rate. So this is the importance of having a crit circle. If you give a crit damage circle with a cracks crit rate, you might have lower, which is like 50 something percent. I mean 50 something percent is kind of good, but it's still not enough for a item as a DPS, right? So for Peace Guilder Dreams is actually good is because it adds EM and attack percent based on your party elemental type, which both benefits item. But if you don't have Guilder Dreams, you can also give him Deepwood Memories. Alright, just but it's just not as good as Guilder Dreams, alright. Because Deepwood is like you to maximize the usage of Deepwood, you have to restrict yourself within Dendro or Dendro related reaction team. Alright, but for Gilded, he can be more flexible in any other team and for his personal damage. So for his constellations, alright. So yeah. Okay. So his C1, alright, what it does is when a precision attack hits an opponent, the elemental skill cooldown will be 1.2 seconds, and this effect can be triggered every 1 second. So it just makes your rotation even more smooth during the whole duration. Alright. So yeah. For C2, so it says when Al-Haitham generates a mirror, his EM will be increased by 50 for 8 seconds. Alright, max 4 stacks. Each stack's duration is counted independently. This effect can be triggered even when the maximum number of chisel mirrors has been reached. Right. So with C2, the rotation might be slightly different a bit if you want to hit the maximum amount of chisel line mirrors. Right. But if you can manage to stack 4 stacks, you're going to have another extra 200 EM for like for his own stats, which is going to be a huge DPS increase. Alright, so for his C3, it will be the elemental skill level increased by 3, which is a DPS increase. So his C4, right, says when the elemental burst is unleashed, alright, the following effects will become active based on the numbers here of mirrors he consumes. Right, so each mirror consumes will increase the party's EM by 30. Okay, and each mirror generated, alright, will grant our Hatem a 10% danger damage bonus for 50 seconds. The pre-existing duration of the aforementioned effects will be cleared if you use the elemental burst again while they are in effect. So it's more like a decision where you want to like buff the whole team or you want his own personal damage. Alright. So C5, yeah. So increases the elemental burst level by 3. Right. Lastly, C6, alright. Item gains the following effects 2 seconds after the elemental burst is unleashed. It will generate max amount of mirrors regardless of the numbers of mirrors. So it means you instantly get 3 regardless of how much you consume. Right. If our items generate mirrors when their numbers have already maxed out, his crit rate and crit damage will increase by 10% and 70% respectively for 6 seconds. If this effect is triggered again during its initial duration, the duration remaining will be increased by 6 seconds. Right. So technically C6 just makes him a real DPS monster because the value and the cycle output is going to be even more broken. Right. So that's technically for Hytem himself, the whole kit explanation. I hope you all follow up so far so good. Right. So now I'm going to talk about the team. Alright. So the team there are multiple teams for item. Alright. So the first team will be spread item. Alright, so here's an example of the team. Alright, so you can change Zhongli to Nahida and you can run 2 electro units. Alright. So in this case, item will be the main on-field DPS and the core for the whole team. Right, so this is technically how spread works. Right. So Nahida will probably be running on 4-piece Deepwood, and our item will be running in 4 Gilded and 2 Electro Off-Field units. Right? So another team is Al-Haitham Hyperbloom. So you have Al-Haitham, alright, you have Cookie, you have Xingqiu, and you have a Nahida. Alright. Nahida will also still be running Deepwood, and she will be there as an EM buffer. And Cookie will be the one who is actually the core here. Alright. So Cookie will be stacking EM, and she will be the one responsible for proccing the Hyper Bloom reaction. While Xingqiu and Al-Haitham will just act as um element driver. Right? Al-Haitham is the driver, Xingqiu is the applier. Right? Another one I discovered lately is Al-Haitham and National. Alright? Which is Al-Haitham, Banner, Xiangling, and Xingqiu. Right? So this team will be playing more on Virgin, but overall it's just a lot of mixed damage together. Right? Similar to Naida National, but Al-Haitham National provides more Dendro application, to be honest. Alright? So he just provides a ton of Dendro application which can match up with Burning, Virgin, or Bloom. Yeah. So depends on your personal playstyle. Like most of the teams here are actually not too expensive. Alright. For Nahida, there are also replacements if you don't have Nahida. Just put a Zhongli or another Dendro character for Dendro Resonance. Alright. So that's all for my video here, all the way here. So thank you very much for watching all the way here. Yeah, so yeah, this is all I want to say about him. I'll hate them. Alright, so thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.